Hello everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I'm on garbage patrol again. I got my bike, and I'm gonna pretend I know how to use this damn stabby tool. I suck at using the damn stabby tool. So today's video is going to be some advice on activism. This may be surprising to some of you, but to anybody who's watched this channel for a fair period of time, I reached a good amount of burnout in 2021. I don't think I ever really fully recovered from that. And I wanted to discuss some of the things I've noticed that I just kind of stumbled upon by accident, since I never actually intended to become an activist. This channel has always been crazy person yells from lounge chair. And it probably always will be crazy man yells from lounge chair. So there's some things that I kind of learned by accident, and I realized that a lot of the things that I learned by accident, I think it came from some John Maxwell book. It was something Levels of Leadership, something like that. I didn't read the book until much later in life, but I realized that I think I read this thing in like 2019, 2020, but I had been doing a lot of the stuff that was in that book. Ew, what the fuck is this thing? For a long period of time, and had not really noticed it. So I thought I would go over some of them with you. So if you want to actually change the world in some way, shape, or form, the best way to go about it, in my opinion, goes something like this. Step one is to have a problem and, I'm a person who may want to work on this problem. That's level one. So for a lot of people, this is a Twitter hashtag, that kind of shit. You point it out to other people. But that does, in my opinion, this doesn't really do much. So usually my stage one is, okay, this is a problem. So let's say, for instance, I have a lot of customers that show up at my business. They say, Apple told me this would be $1,500. And they said, if anybody says that they know how to fix this, they are screwing you. If anybody says that they can offer you component level repair, that is a scam. So step number two would be, okay, let me try and fix this problem for me. So I would, let's say, learn component level repair. Okay, learn component level repair, that's how I'm going to fix the problem for me. Now the next step is, I am going to try and fix the problem for others. I'm going to offer this repair to others, and we're going to go from there. Step number 4 would be something like, I am going to try and show other people how to fix this problem. So let's say instead of just doing the work, I'm going to show other people how to do the work. And let's see what happens when I show other people how to do this. So I started making videos on how to actually do the work that I do. By the way, you know what makes this sad is that I know 100% that I went over this area just a few days ago, and it looks like shit again. That kind of makes me sad. Ugh. There's a little bit of New York everywhere, you know. So you go over the problem and try to help other people fix it. That's in a lot of my early videos. People used to say that this channel, he just made this channel so that he could make a bunch of money on YouTube. And one of the things that I always found interesting about that, if you look up my early videos, for the most part, they were trash. There's really no way else, the other way to put it. Even the board repair videos, they're like the 2013, 2014 era, circa board repair videos, I mean, they were genuine garbage. And don't even get me started on the stuff of me yelling into a camera. I mean, that was just crazy person runs from a chair. Anyway. So I didn't have monetization on when I did that stuff. I just thought, I want to show other people how to do what I do. And a lot of people said, well, this is ridiculous. You realize that you're going to go broke if you do this? Why would anybody use your services if you're just showing other people how to do it? And not to mention that, but my business offers this, and now other people are not going to do this either. Because now other people are not going to come to me because you've showed everybody else how to do it. So instead of there being 3 businesses in this area, then there's going to be 30. And of course, in a city of 8.5 million people, everything is some sort of zero-sum game, right? It's just stupid and ridiculous in my opinion. But yeah, I wanted to show other people how to do this type of stuff. And then, after I showed them, I would try and get them to be able to teach other people how to do this stuff. So I wouldn't just say, here's how you do it. I started going more into, here's the mindset behind why I did what I did, so that you could teach this mindset to others, so that they could do the exact same thing that you're doing. By the way, for those of you who asked when I went down that block to the left, why didn't I not talk to the cute girl who was exercising outside? If you have a body cam, a giant microphone on, are carrying a garbage bag, have a giant pokey stick that looks like a spear, and are talking to yourself, that's usually not the best time to talk to women. I will let the women in the comments section give their opinion on that if they'd like to. But something tells me that's not the best time to talk to women. Particularly women that you don't know. Whoops, I missed one. Now the reason I think that this method works best is because you get people personally invested in whatever it is you're looking to solve. So after that, when it comes to pointing out a problem and trying to solve a problem, not just activism, the way that's going to work is A, you point out an issue, B, you try to solve the issue for others, and C, while you're solving the issue for others, you try to get others personally invested in it. So how do you get people personally invested? For me, the way I did that is, let me show you how this works. I'm going to do this job, and I'm going to show you all how I'm doing it. I'm going to try to make it fun. So it's not just going to be board repair. It's not just going to be board repair. It's going to be, let's make this video fun. Let's not just make it a sterile piece of shit. Let's throw some humor in there. Let's throw some humanity in there. Let's make it seem like this industry is actually run by real human beings with real thoughts, concerns, fears, ethics, morals, everything else, rather than, because most people thought that people in this industry are just kind of these shitty shade tree mechanics that just fuck with people and take stuff into a back room and tell them it's going to cost 3 times as much as it actually needs to because they lie about what's wrong with something. That was how a lot of people viewed this industry. And let's be real, that's how a lot of people even view mechanics. That's why I like channels like Eric the Car Guy and other channels that kind of made you realize that the people working on your car are humans. The people that do this really do want to help people. And after that, when you finally get people to share in your joy about whatever it is you're doing, then when something doesn't work or something doesn't really go the way you want, at that point, I'm not really using the picker. It takes too much. I think I'm just going to get gloves next time. The picker takes way too much time, in my opinion, because I have to take it off the bike constantly. Also, maybe I should mount this on the front. If I had this mounted on the front of my bike in New York, I guarantee that I would not have to yell at people to get out of my way at the bike lane. Oh man, that would be fun. Just charging at people. I guess I can. Now, when you're not able to do something, or when something doesn't go your way, here's what you do. You just say, usually I would finish this. Unfortunately, I can't finish this because X, Y. Well, I would usually love to do this, but I can't finish this time. I'm sorry. And then people go, wait, what are you talking about? You can't finish it this time. And then that's when you start to say, well, when you tell the internet something, they're going to, here's the thing, there's this rule on the internet. You cannot tell the internet, you can't ask the internet a question. You could do it wrong, and then the internet will correct you. So if I say, well, I can't ask the internet, where do I get this chip? That will never work. Where do I get this chip? Yeah, this one was a little bit too nasty even for me. I've touched my customer computers. I've touched a used cock ring to fix it. There are some things that are even a little bit too much for me. And this kind of looks like it. Okay, that's somebody's little sheep. You know what, when I have gloves, I'm going to come back. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to put it out somewhere over here on top of one of these ledges so that if the kid who lost that finds it, they'll at least be able to take it back. I remember being a kid. I remember I had this little balloon, and I lost my balloon, and my dad said, I'll get you a new one. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I started crying, and I went, but I want that one. I know kids really like those toys. When I have, I'll pick that thing up later. On the internet, you cannot you can't ask a question. It doesn't work. You have to do something wrong, and then once people correct you, now it's like, you idiot, if you actually want this to work, what you have to do is you have to rewrite this part of the C code in the driver. And it's like, oh yeah, thank you for, and instead of being mad that they called you an idiot, it's like, oh, thank you very much for fixing all my problems and doing like embedded engineer work for free. I really appreciate that. So I would tell people, yeah, I would love to be able to do this, but yeah, I just can't get what I need. This thing is impossible. And you just say it like it's a statement of fact. And like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, they think you're too stupid to do this. They think they think you're too stupid to realize that they're hiding the ability to get this particular chip that you need to do the job. And it's like, usually on all the other machines, you notice I buy this chip for like $2 to $7. But this one, yeah, I just can't fix it because they can't get this thing. Oh, well. And then they'll try to find it themselves. And then when they try to find it themselves and they can't, they go, wait a second. Oh, shit. He's right. This is an issue. And then they see it as an issue for themselves because it kind of becomes this ego type of thing. Like, wait, yeah, they really do think I'm too stupid to get to buy this on my own. They really think I am so stupid that I won't fix a problem that could be fixed for $5 because they think I'm so dumb. And then, they go to contact Rochester Electronics themselves or something. They try to buy the chip and and they can't get it. And then you start to get people it's not about telling people, you should care about this issue because I think it's important. You should care because if you don't care about repair, you're not being good to the environment. And you're not caring about the disadvantaged people that otherwise would not be, that really need these types of things, repairs to be available because they're disadvantaged. And you don't want to help the disadvantaged. You don't care about the environment. That shit doesn't work. A Twitter hashtag where you say, oh, you should care about this. This is an issue. Here's why you should care about this issue. None of that shit works. What you have to do is you have to get people personally invested. And it usually starts with find an issue or solve issue for yourself. Start using what you learn to solve issue for others. Teach other people how to solve that issue for others. No, I got it wrong again. Find issue, solve issue for yourself, start solving issue for others, teach other people how to solve that issue for others, and now you've gotten somewhere. And then and don't just solve the problem and then say, this is an issue and I think it's really bad and look at me, no. Show people the course as you're trying to solve the issue, piece by piece. Get people invested. Turn it into something fun. Turn it into a video game for them. Turn it into a sitcom. And then when you're not, have them share in your joy. And then when that joy is taken away, tell them why. But don't just say, well, yeah, here's why you need to care and everything. But just let them figure it out for themselves over time. And show them it in a way where they'll believe it. Because they're following the same thing you did. Now, once you've done that part, the next part is actually trying to solve a problem. You've pointed out a problem. You've gotten people personally invested in your problem. I slowed down because there's no way in fuck I was going to be the dude that runs over a butterfly. Not happening. You've gotten them personally invested in your issue. The next thing to do is get people a little aggravated over it. Get them a little mad. Allow them to become a little pissed off. How's it going? What is it the Joker said? Trying to remember. Something the Joker said. It's in the tip of my tongue. I'll remember it, and I'll pin the comments right after I'm done with this video. I know I'm gonna remember it the second I turn the camera back. The second I turn the camera off, I'm gonna know exactly what it was I wanted to say. Second. like it is a little bit too much here. I'll get the poker out. Now, as you're getting people aggravated about it, that will be pressure. And pressure can be a good thing, because a lot of the times you can't figure out or get to the bottom of a problem because there is not enough pressure for you to actually get access to the rooms and the people and everything else that you'd need to solve it. Let's see. But pressure can be a good thing. Now the thing is, in absence of a real explanation, very often people will assume the worst explanation. And if they've been riled up in some way, shape, or form, because there is no explanation for something that's really ridiculous, they'll often assume the worst possible case scenario. I talked about this during the GameStop thing, when there was that one dude from Robinhood. He was asked, do you have a liquidity problem? And he said no, because they halted trading. And technically that was correct. They did not have a liquidity problem, but it was the reason they didn't have a liquidity problem is because they halted trading. So if you don't have a liquidity problem, but you halted trading, well, that must mean that you're doing it for some sort of evil or nefarious reason. But you see where that kind of shit happens? It's like, well, no, he didn't have a liquidity problem because he halted the trading. That's why he didn't have a liquidity problem. But he never said that. And in the absence of that being said, the worst possible case scenario was assumed by people. But then you eventually got to the root of the real root of it. And that happens. That can happen. Now, that's one part where I never really finished. Partly because of burnout, and partly because of the person I am, meaning I'm just not going to be the person that's going to be allowed into the rooms with the people who can give me an actual answer. My best guess when it comes to right to repair, if I had to guess for the true answer to the problem, not the oversimplified, ideologically easy to understand way, is that it's actually impossible. My entire business, the entire spare parts thing, has been pretty much the stuff that falls off of the assembly line, for lack of a better way to put it, while everything is being produced. Somebody's asked to make 15,000 MacBooks today. They get 16,000 parts they buy 16,000 or whatever. And then somebody says, well, we have 1,000 extras. So it gets sold to the LG broker, who then sells it to me, or it gets sold to an LG broker, who then sells it to somebody who sells it to somebody who then sells it to you. Like it gets sold to an LG broker that then sells it to Asset Genie or AG Parts, that then sells it to an end repair shop, or a reseller who then sells it to you. Dear God. Okay, there's a lot of litter over here. I swear to Christ, the nicer the areas I go to, the more the litter. All right. I was looking at homes in this particular hill, and one of them was like 1.3 million. I wasn't gonna buy it. It's kind of one of those window shopping things where I'm just curious what it would be like to be rich every now and then. And yeah, everything on this hill is fairly expensive. A lot of them have really nice views of Lake Travis. Very nice views of Lake Travis, actually. Which is why it kind of makes me sad that you see all this shit here. For all you know, this ends up in the lake. And that's the water that you drink here. So you're right next to the lake that provides you with the water that you're going to be drinking. And people do this stuff. It's one of those things where it's always somebody else's problem, you know? Anyway, so back to what I was talking about when you're talking about figuring out the real issue, the real thing that's going on, the real problem. Well, my personal belief is that there's literally just not enough parts. That there's not enough. That the way that we have gotten to the point where things have been able to stay so cheap in spite of inflation and everything else is we don't have that issue where, because of little mismatches, we made 16,000 parts today, but we plan to make 15,000 devices. That doesn't happen anymore. There are no spare parts. We have that, I don't know much, to be clear, I don't know much about the supply chain stuff. I'm probably going to use some incorrect terminology, and if you're an expert in this stuff, for the love of God, do correct me so that people don't get the wrong idea in the comments. But that entire idea of lean, just-in-time supply chain shit, where you make exactly what you need and everything is I think that's the reason that you have the S&P 500 as high as it is. The reason these companies are as valuable as they are is because because there's no waste. There's no extra, ever. Everything is as efficient as humanly possible. If they want to make 15,000 devices, goddamn, they're going to have 15,000 of this cable and 15,000 of this screen, and 15,000 of that. And because they ask for exactly what they need, exactly what they want, and they're always efficient enough to do that way, that means that there's no spares. It's not even a question of like them, going out of their way to withhold it. It could simply be like there's literally no spares. And if you wanted spares, you would have to go back to the way things were many years ago. And going back to the way things were many years ago is going to mean that company may have to pay more money for the parts. And if they have to pay more money for the parts, that means less profit for them, which means you go back to where the S&P 500 was 15 or 20 years ago, which is probably going to piss a lot of people off. People kind of like having a retirement account with an S&P of 570 rather than 170 or 200. Our entire economy is based on that shit now. Or secondly, they're just going to have to charge more money to you. People are not going to be very happy with that. For sale, you're a real estate specialist. Huh. This would be a nice place to live, wouldn't it? Like, god damn, this is nice. I like riding up here. Hey, by the way, I'm not going to be picking up any more litter that I see because I am late for a few things I have to do, so I have to get back. But anything that I see, I'm going to make a mental note of, and after making a mental note of it, I will come back at a later time. All right? So don't think I'm just missing things just to be a lazy fuck. Unfortunately, I have a job and other shit I have to do in my life. Okay. Fuck you, dog. I like cats. Dogs can suck it. Cats and fish. Dogs can suck it. Absolutely suck it. One of the things that I got is leaking, and it's leaking all over my foot as I'm riding. Lovely. Just lovely. All right. Yeah, there's a real reason, and I never got to the real reason. I'm not Marquez Brownlee. I'm never going to be in a room with an Apple executive. I am not an influencer. I will never be I will never in my lifetime be able to have an honest conversation with somebody that works at John Deere or New Motion, a wheelchair company, or anything else. I am me. And I think that being who I was really good to move the ball forward as much as I did with my particular issue. But I do not think being who I am is good enough to move the ball forward past where I have. And that would be even if I wasn't completely burnt out from like audit after, oh, I moved to a new store and I got ripped off for $30,000 or $40,000. And oh, here's COVID. And oh, here's riots. And then a bunch of other interpersonal crap in the year 2021. And just thing after thing after thing. It never, ever ends. But yeah, so at this point, it's safe to say that I'm very burnt out. Very burnt out. And there's also a bunch of other business stuff in there that's just completely burnt me out. So quite burnt out altogether. But even if I wasn't, I think it's up to the next group of people to try and solve the issues that I talk about on my channel. I don't think it's up to me. I think I moved the ball forward as much as I could from my personality and my way of doing things. And I'd really be curious to see how the next generation of people does it. I'm also curious, what do you think of this? With the problems that you want to solve in your own life. How's it going? For the things that you see as issues with the world, are you just going to do Twitter hashtags? Are you going to have bumper stickers? Are you going to tell people they're bad because they don't agree with you or they don't really see the point in your issue yet? Is that how you're going to do it? Or are you going to get them invested? Are you going to figure out a way to get people to care about your issue, to be excited about what you're doing? And if so, how are you going to do it? What's your methodology going to be? I want to hear it in the comments below. I want to learn about your progress. I want to see what you did. I want to see what you accomplished, and I want to see what you inspired in other people. I want to see how you all became leaders. Because leaders are not people that have a name tag. Leaders aren't people that have a little thing that says, I'm a manager. That's not how any of this shit works. Leaders are people that get others excited. Leaders are people that show other people that something's possible that they didn't think was possible, and then teach them how to share that excitement to other people. And that could be you. Anyway, that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.